a pro league without question. I don't doubt his ability to slay out. But Xysho, I mean, come on, he kind of brings it all. IGL roll, right? He can lock that in. He brings in the brains, he brings in the smarts, plus he can slay with the best of them. Acells, our player, we highlighted off the rip, losing the 1v against Abolics.
And Abolics, another one of those players, man, we don't talk enough, right? Talk enough about, because he is just so skilled, puts up huge numbers. A big reason why this Oxygen team has been playing so well, but you can see Vanquish still are going to take control of the hill early on. M-Bar will be in the hands of Oxygen. See sort of where they make their move. Hndles kind of just waiting. He's got a lot of information right now that he can convey over towards his team. And Acells, he's getting nice and aggressive on that M-Bar player. Abolics, he's going to hit the body shot. It's going to put him in a good position to potentially clean this kill up. Acells will continue to just slow play it, gather his health back. Abolics only has a few more shots left. Acells is going to dance around, make him miss not one, but two. He's going to potentially make him pay, but no, Abolics does hit the back gate, gets the better of him once again.
Well done from Abolics, but doesn't really amount to much, though. As exciting as that elimination was, VQ still takes a decent lead, and they have, I think, the first say for the next hill. Player rate can change that, but player rate is forced to back off. So even though Abolics puts that player on skates and does a good job, you know, connecting, it didn't have the biggest impact on the next hill, and VQ will continue to garner more of a lead.
See Xysho kind of coming on the backside of this fight. Vanquish still in control of the hill. Oxygen beginning to make their push. Early damage coming out from Precision. Numbers still favoring Vanquish. You just see that kill feed continuing to light up. Blue 4 up, 4 down. VQ will continue to build on this lead.
Yes, they definitely will be. And Oxygen's getting things are, I would say, getting a bit scary. One of the things, though, that I have to compliment Oxygen on in the previous matches from week 1 and obviously heading into this week is their ability to take team fights and win them consistently. But they might meet their match because VQ is equally as good, and the great spacing from Hndles. That Lancer fire is putting the pressure on Rocky, putting the pressure on everybody else. And let me stop because Rocky is pulling up and going big. My goodness. Will he take down Precision? The possibility is there, and Acells, he's looking to make some big boy moves. See if he's going to be able to, and he will, but man, did Rocky put up a fight.
You saw the slow play there by Vanquish. Very well played. Waited for the reinforcements to come and made them pay, so VQ looking to take the lead as we cross that first sort of 100-point pillar. It's like Acells will be taken down as he grabs the M-Bar, but his teammates are there. Abolics hits a nice full spread, but he's taking a low health as well. That will probably take him down. A team kill is going to come out by Rocky, and the trades come through. It's now going to be, I think, an opportunity for Vanquish to grab the numbers. They are. So that should be the M-Bar in the hands of Acells. An unfortunate team kill for Oxygen. You hate to see it.
You really do, and again, mistakes like that cannot happen. They just can't. And to give Acells the M-Bar, that's scary. We've seen what he can do with it. He's incredible in his own right. You put an M-Bar in his hands, he's like a juggernaut. You just can't take him down. Either way, though, Oxygen does set up for the next hill quite well, and VQ are the ones who have to get that break. Zoom needs to keep his head down, though, because Acells is looking to remove it.
And he's got him in that spot as well. Zoom trying his best just to stay alive, but Acells has that angle and is going to make him pay. The reload comes through. He's not going to miss that one. Trying to make it a third, not able to connect, but you can see the teamwork now coming out from Vanquish. They have all kinds of angles, and now they're going to have the hill as well. So they do finally cross that 100-point lead. Oxygen, in the meantime, only 12 points to their name. They once again are making the rotation over. You see Vanquish trying to gather the information, see exactly where their push is going to be made from. Are they going to maybe try to rotate towards next hill? Still so much time left on this one. I'd hate to think they're going to make a full rotation just yet, right?
Yeah, I mean, they spread themselves pretty thin. The thing is, though, VQ is meeting them head on, and the risk that you run when you spread yourself out like Oxygen has to go for the retake, if you lose any of these fights, you put yourself in a bad spot. But Rocky finds it off angle, and no way he takes down Precision 2. He does. If he gets, oh my gosh, Rocky, you savage! What a play from him to find the off angle, Lancer down 2 players from VQ, Precision and another, and then to take the fight to Hndles, but the job's still not done. Despite the heroics, he loses the fight against Xysho, but quickly picked up. But all that work for 15 seconds.
That was well played by Xysho, too. In the meantime, when Rocky was getting his 2-piece, Xysho got a 2-piece of his own as well. And, of course, they end up winning that fight. The trades did come through, and you can see, like, I think Oxygen got maybe, 10 seconds off of that hill, and that's all the way over to the next one. Acells has the new M-Bar in the meantime, so that big play by Xysho really did kind of slow down the members of Oxygen. You can see that VQ still continues to just hold this big lead.
I still, though, Rocky making plays like that makes me excited, but even though we've seen some incredible plays, like Abolics, for example, and that first big critical fight for the M-Bar, he wins the M-Bar, then he gets into a second fight. It was great to watch, Ryan, but it didn't change the storyline. VQ still had the lead and control of the hill. And the same thing for Rocky. Rocky wins that big fight, taking down 3 players. But for what? For just, what, 10 seconds at most? Either way, VQ is consistently winning the hills, and they're winning the critical fights that matter for the points. And that's where Oxygen has to find a way to capitalize. Yes, they're winning great fights. They're electrifying in their performance. They're not playing bad, but they're just not winning the fights they need to.
Definitely, you're going to see VQ continuing to move forward. Acells going to connect with that M-Bar. They've done a great job of controlling the power weapons so far here on Regency, and they're moving closer and closer, Taylor, to that 200-point mark now as they cross 175. So good stuff coming out from Vanquish. Like I said, Oxygen, they're going to have to earn this one, man. These VQ kids, they're a different breed.
They're built different, aren't they, at this point? And I think that was made apparent after MSP. And you know what's funny? Despite VQ having several changes, they've always been a team, Ryan, that you have to take seriously and respect. You know, ever since they won that major, VQ has never been a team that has fallen off.
No, I mean, they have what many would consider 2 of the top 4 or 5 players in the game, right? With Acells and Precision, guys with incredible chemistry. Of course, you know, Acells and Hndles have incredible chemistry together. Hndles does such a good job at playing that role and kind of being that guy to help fill in the gaps and really make his teammates' lives easier. So they just, again, have such a well-rounded roster. Then they bring in a player like Xysho, who's already insanely skilled to begin with, right? But also a great IGL. So just such a well-rounded team. I mean, they really do check every single box, especially when it comes down to kind of 4v4 Gears Esports.
And Xysho was so hungry for I mean, he's hungry for the championship still, right? The MSP, a lot of pros can say, and a lot of pros have said, right, it's not a chip, it doesn't count, it's only 2 days instead of 3, the stamina issue, and Friend kind of broke that down in his segment on Twitch, and rightly so, I get that, but Xysho, if he can win the next major, VQ can win the next major, I mean, there will be no doubt. Pushyz connects onto Precision. Second one onto Xysho. Can we get a third? Well, he doesn't need to. Rocky will pick up Acells and Oxygen, finally showing some life.
Absolutely, and like I said, we saw this in the first Regency, right, Taylor? Like, you're never actually out of it when it comes to control, right? All it takes is a couple fights, a couple hills. Yeah. So we'll see if Oxygen can start to bring this back. Of course, they have quite a big hill to climb, I would say, and it looks like Hndles is he waiting. I don't know if the players know. They finally do find him. Is he able to get one on the way out? Nope, he is not. So Oxygen will start to milk these final seconds, start to make that sort of early rotation, because you can see Vanquish are already set up over the next hill.
Yeah, and VQ has been doing a good job at that, and that's going to hurt Oxygen. It really is. However, they do have a couple of off angles, and Xysho being one. Does Xysho stay? He does. He stays alive. Oxygen is falling apart, and VQ wins a fight that I believe Oxygen had a big advantage on, because you had the M-Bar, and you also had the backs of VQ, and still VQ wins the fight and the hill. Things aren't looking good for Oxygen. Again, they're winning some great fights. They're looking incredible. Big pop-off moments from Abolics, big pop-off moments from Rocky. But as a whole, as a team, VQ is just playing better, quite honestly. And by the way, Precision in such a good spot. Precision is such a great... That Lancer fire is so difficult to battle. You can't do anything unless you specifically push him, but it doesn't make sense just to push him, because then you're going to get Lancer from the hill. That was just a perfect setup from VQ to defend that last one.
Yeah, I mean, with a team like Vanquish, if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile and a half, right? So you saw that there's a fight that you thought that Oxygen could have maybe won. You slip up in even the slightest, and Vanquish is going to make you pay. And you can even see just on the scoreboard, too. I saw that, Observer had the scoreboard up, too. Like, it's just very balanced, right? You saw players 19, 18, 18. I mean, there, you can see the teamwork just shine through. Yeah, here it is again, 19, 21, 21, right? They're just doing such a good job of just playing for each other, shooting for each other, and it's reflecting in the scoreboard. They're about to win this in a 100-point club fashion.
Yeah, and this is going to be a big L that Oxygen is going to take again. Their strongest game mode is control. Starting off on Regency, Oxygen's map pick, they lose this in a dominant way, which they're well on track to doing so. I don't see a comeback happening here. I really don't, unless Oxygen just, I don't know, pulls off some huge heroics, which could happen. But, I mean, come on. Will it? I don't know. But great shots coming out from Acells, and this should be the final break and the final couple of points they need. Abolics, though, trying to pop off. Unfortunately, he will fall off, and well, that's going to be it. I do believe 300 to 83. The beat tone is in, and Ryan VQ takes a dominant first map.
Yeah, they're definitely gunning for that #1 spot, right? They saw that leaderboard. They know they were first place in Pro League last phase, don't forget, right? So they see someone else up there, and these boys want to take them down. A great start coming through from Vanquish. Of course, if you are Oxygen, it is just map 1, but you're definitely going to have to step your game up here if you're going to beat these boys on Vanquish, because they are already looking hot.
Apparently, we missed a play with the Acells, getting the nastiest 2-piece while he was one shot. Apologize, sometimes we miss those, but hey, I'm sure it'll be in the replay. But you know what? We didn't miss the beatdown, though, that VQ just gave Oxygen, Ryan. We didn't miss that whatsoever. You know, it's not...
All right, well, hold on. Let me address one thing. We missed Acells 2-piece. He gets like 100 2-pieces a game, right? Let's get one thing straight. I'm sorry we missed one. The guy's like a human highlight reel, so once in a while, things happen.
Things do happen. You know, there's a lot taking place. Storylines were developing. Sometimes it is what it is. Acells, hey, he popped out. He was the player to watch for a reason, you know, and we watched him for that reason. I will say this, though. Well, actually, let me ask you, because in my mind, Oxygen didn't necessarily do anything bad. VQ just played better.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Vanquish was just pretty much in control the whole way through. They were beating him to the power weapon. They were beating him in the rotation. They were beating him in the team fights. They were out lancering. I mean, it pretty much they checked off every single box, right? Sometimes with this team, as skilled as they are, right, they don't even let you sometimes get into those sort of individual engagements you're looking for. You saw in the beginning, like Abolics won a couple 1v1s against the Acells when it comes down to those situations, but a lot of times EQ doesn't let you get into like a pure 1v1 scenario because you always have someone shooting you in the side, shooting you in the back, or he's going to play his distance, wait for his teammate to come 2v1 you, right? This is a very, very well-oiled machine of a team. It is a reason why they were your champions at the mid-split playoffs. So, like I said, Oxygen, you're going to have to kind of turn the volume up a little bit, turn the speed up a little bit, because these guys are going to run all around the map if you let them.
I do want to say, though, one player that I was hyped up to watch that I didn't have a chance to kind of break it down what he was doing in a special way, especially off the first portion of that Regency control, was Hndles. Hndles is a player that I personally have grown very fond of watching. And the reason why, yes, he has his pop-off moments, make no mistake, but his positioning and the way that he sets up the spawn control on any map that he plays on, here on Regency, there were several moments where VQ was going to, you know, push in. And obviously, we're focused on the big plays from Acells, the big 2-pieces, and Precision popping off, Xysho doing his thing, right? And he's kind of, you know, the utilitarian player. But Hndles is a large reason as to why VQ is so successful in getting the breaks and also getting the setup defensively on the fresh hills, because he's positioning himself not only for spawn control, but also in a way where he can catch the off angles and pepper the players, in this case from Oxygen, pushing in, which makes them more chunkable overall for VQ to get the cleanups. Hndles is that unsung hero that, in my mind, is so valuable to the team, but doesn't get hyped up enough.
Yeah, it's absolutely one of the most valuable parts, because it's not really always reflected on the scoreboard, which now with the new damage metric, I'm a little excited to see a little more reflection on the scoreboard. Yep. It is still someone on the map that is just so crucial to the success of a team. Don't forget, no matter how good some of these guys are, no matter how flashy they are, no matter how good their shotguns are, it is a team game at the end of the day. You cannot win without a well-rounded team with everyone playing their part. You look at guys like Kenny, right? Kenny is one of the most winningest players of all time. When Kenny started his career, he was kind of that... He was the main slayer getting 3-pieces, right? You can see how his game has shifted over time, and look at how much he's won, right? A lot of times Kenny doesn't get reflected in the scoreboard. There's going to be hashtag drop Kenny in the chat when he has like a low elim game, whatever it is. But I guarantee you, all of his teammates can tell you that having that kind of player on the map is so impactful, and he's one of the best to ever do it in that way. And you can see Hndles now starting to fill that same kind of role as well for this Vanquish team. And this Vanquish team is also having great success with one of those kinds of players in the team.
Yeah, for anybody to say drop Kenny, they're just popping off at the mouth. Like, it's not warranted. It's not justified. They see him lose a 1v3 and they're like, oh, drop Kenny's the worst player in the world. No, Kenny's a king. You know,
I'm one of the few who, for what it's worth, I'm one of the few who has dropped Kenny in the past. So I can tell you it's a bad idea. Someone who's done it before, bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? I'm sure it was justified then. It wouldn't be justified now. Like, Kenny is just too valuable to E United. That team's still arguably the best in the world in general, despite their performance during the MSP, which I know they're not happy with. Hopefully they have the right mentality this split, or this phase, I should say, and finish up the major in a way that we expect E United to do so. But VQ's teamwork is quite literally unmatched. Plus, their individual slaying power is just incredible. And speaking of which Checkout is one of these maps for execution that Precision specifically is so electrifying to watch. Can't wait to see him go up mid lane and pressure the boys of Oxygen, because I don't think VQ is going to take a step back in round one. I think they're going to pressure up the Oxygen, and they're going to show them they're not scared, and they're going to say, hey, look, you better bring your A game, because if you don't, we're going to beat you down like we did on Regency.
And he's rocking Savage Canis. All right, just pack it up, boys. This map's already over, right? You got Precision on checkout with Savage Canis. Just pack it up.
One of the cleanest skins, too. I just want to say, one of the cleanest characters in general, man. Acells is down, though.
So
can't convert the first blood.
Oh, it looks like this is a little bit of caster curse here, Taylor. Looks like Oxygen are going to take control early. Pushyz get a nice couple kills, taking control of this side of the map, and it is going to be Oxygen stopping the bleeding here, taking control of checkout execution.
Gotta stop doing that. Like I
was going to tell you before Oxygen started popping off. I was going to tell you, like, because I know, like, you know, obviously you're a little newer to Gears in general, right? Like the player, Savage Canis is always kind of considered like the warrior character, right? Like you put your absolute demon on that character on the map, right? You want someone who's going to be aggressive, who's going to push your right hand, show you no respect, and that's Precision, man. Precision is just so aggressive. So to see one of the most aggressive players on Savage Canis, that's a scary sight. Look at that right there.
Who's
Caster Curse? We got him again.
Pushy's unstunned right off the rip, and like you said, caster curse. But VQ still with the pressure, and Rocky and Co's not going to be comfortable. But Zoom will get the best of Xysho. That's going to be a big 1v. Zoom will lose his life to Hndles, though. It's going to be a 2v2, very scrappy. Hndles nowhere to go. Abolics will take him down into Acells by himself, but in a 1v. But the misroll will be his demise, and Rocky will get the cleanup and Oxygen with the 2-0 lead, proving, Ryan, sometimes we just don't know what we're talking about.
I love that patience by Zoom as well, right? A lot of players are trying to kind of go for the up A. You can see Zoom was a little low health. He played that very, very well. Pushyz again, getting the party started with that first blood. So good stuff coming through from Oxygen. It would be great for these guys if they could really start to build a bit of momentum here on map 2, keep themselves alive in this series, kind of have that short-term memory from map 1, and start to equalize the series.
Pushyz getting aggressive on plat, not even challenged, not marked either, but Hndles unmarked, and the ensign will just go right behind him. Xysho picks up the snipe, however, but he's down, picked back up, and an opportunity to take off ahead is here. Misses the first shot, and meanwhile, on the opposite end, it's a 4v2, 3v2, and Xysho is going to be your ace in the hole, but Acells in the corner, and if he gets pushed, he might be in trouble, and it's going to be up to Xysho to keep him out of that trouble, and he's rotated out. And Acells and Xysho are going to stick together, and that's exactly what they need to do. Does Oxygen have another ensign? They do not. So Acells with the frag, Xysho with the snipe. This is doable.
Well, it certainly isn't. You know, those grenades are going to be so helpful when it comes to that overtime circle if we get there, right? Because it can really literally keeps players directly off of the zone. Obviously, you only get 2, so you can start to bait them out, but it's going to be helpful, especially in a close quarter situation, right? You know, you have to stay so close to that hill, right? Because you know, if you don't get close to it, the other team's just going to cap it in your face. So I would say between the snipe and the grenades, this is definitely doable for VQ.
Definitely doable indeed, but oh no, he missed that shot to the right, but collapse on the second one. Good team pickup. Rocky now in a 1v2, and Oxygen not utilizing their numbers correctly. Abolics has no choice but to go forward, and a 3v2 turns into a 2v none as VQ sinks their teeth in finally in round 3 and brings it 1-2.
That was so beautifully played by the boys on Vanquish. You saw that first kill come through. Of course, Xysho, the great first kill. And then you saw when he went down how close his teammate was to get that instant revival. And now next thing you know, the 2 players in Oxygen are actually separated, right? So that was beautifully played by Vanquish. And again, their teamwork is just so good. And Xysho's the newest player on the team.
Xysho, newest player on the team. But you know what? He is the player that quite literally gave VQ, aside from Hndles is there, but quite literally gave them that win during the MSP. Oh, nice angle from, who's that? From Hndles. I'm telling you, Hndles knows his angles, brother. He's always getting them. And that's going to bring Abolics by himself. Not really a leg to stand on. They're going to close that gap very shortly. No nade's going to be yeeted across the map, and they're going to control the numbers, and that's going to be tied up 2-2.
Yeah, good stuff coming through once again. Really good teamwork. You mentioned the angles, right? You saw them get control early of the utility. Good stuff coming out from Vanquish just like that. We are here now at 2-2. It is Xysho leading the way once again. Just is proven to be such a good execution player so quickly.
Let's get into the round number 5. Will Oxygen be able to Not necessarily, I shouldn't say stop the bleeding, but win another round. VQ is on fire. They're playing incredibly well. Hndles is swinging wide onto Zoom, so he might be able to catch another offing. And meanwhile, Pushyz very aggressively takes down Acells, and this is a great first blood for them. And to boot, Abolics will pick up the snipe precision. He is in a really tough spot. And ultimately, that's going to be a 19-second round, and Oxygen fights back lightning fast to win round 5.
Yeah, another first blood coming through from Pushyz as well, right? We talked about some of the aggression we see from Precision on initials. Pushyz, he's not afraid either, man. He's getting right up in there, making his presence known, whether it's toward the middle side, whether it's on plat. Good stuff from him coming through. Those are the kind of plays you need to make to beat a team like Vanquish. You need to take the game to them, otherwise they will take it right to you.
Let's go into round number 6 as VQ needs to tie it up. Let's see if they're going to be successful in doing so. Precision's going for that plat. Pushyz will sniff him out, but unfortunately can't get enough damage done. Xysho will back him off with the cross, and that's just good teamwork. And even across the map, again, Hndles continues to prove why I love watching him play. By getting that down, that forces them off a plat. Precision gets the instant. He throws one out, bit recklessly, doesn't connect, but at least repositions Rocky and co to the right side. And it looks as if he's going to go for yet another connection, and this should connect. You'd have to assume Rocky and Abolics might fall here, but no, Precision is down, and Oxygen might have an advantage.
Oh, and Acells, he's a big kill. Now he put a lot of damage in as well, looking to make it a third, and man, Acells sometimes he just plays perfect. That was just so well played. Hitting those big spreads, he saw him getting the movement in, pursuit from the back, everything you want to see.
Yeah, Acells is just that guy. He really is. But either way, VQ wins the round ultimately, ties it up 3-3. A lot went down there. Precision did a great job getting on that plat, getting the instance, but ultimately didn't have really an effect as a whole. Overtime Hill's now going to be down there on checkout where the snipe is currently at. And with it being a tied ball game, both teams fighting to once again take the lead.
Yeah, it's definitely been a very, very close map. I want to see once again what Pushyz has in store for us. He's definitely been taking control of the early portion of these rounds. Now he's going to go to plat instead. He's going to be met by Precision. Precision will get the better of him this time around. Smokes are going to start to dissipate. First blood now in the hands of Vanquish. Acells has that meat shield up top as well, just kind of making his presence known as the team fire is starting to come out from Vanquish. They're just one by one picking them apart.
Zoom last alive. Hndles with the... Well, actually, Hndles just... He had help with the snipe. He had help with the Lancer fire, the snub fire. That was just... There was no way Zoom was getting out of that one. But he head downed it anyways. He knew it's a 1v4. I got to try something. And that's going to be 2 rounds in a row for the boys of Vanquish as they fight for the lead once again. And they have it. Electronics is where the overtime hill might be, which could be a lot of fun to watch. You know, I always enjoy watching the overtime hill, specifically at Electronics, because it's fun to see the standoff typically at checkout, and then it's also fun to see both teams just make a mad dash for the overtime hill. But Precision, I think, wants to make this push. He hits Pushyz really hard. Pushyz is down, and this is going to be go time for VQ.
They've definitely started to take control. Grabbing that map positioning slowly but surely. The incense going to come out. Going to connect onto Pushyz. Second down does come through in numbers very quickly in favor of Vanquish. They should be able to clean this one up. And now, Taylor, they're going to find themselves on map point just like that. Yeah,
just like that. And the beatdown is in. And Vanquish, I know you've been watching a lot of, obviously you watch every single week, but VQ is a team that, and Hndles given, I mean, everything you could possibly imagine. They are doing Oxygen dirty. But that's what VQ does. One of the things that I appreciate about Vanquish is they're always having fun when they play, it seems, Ryan.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, there's a very, very tight-knit team, right? They believe in that you know, just being brothers in the map, brothers in game, out of game. Everything you want to see, man. They're champions.
All right, well, let's get into the potential final round. Oxygen started off strong. Will they be able to finish strong? That is the question. I know they do not want to fall 2-0 down in the series. Going into training grounds escalation, where VQ has been pretty talented because that's their overlook fight is great, and that's a good opening. Precision was down, but he's picked back up. Acells is the first blood. Now it's about converting, and they do take down yet another one. Good connection on the instance, and VQ's going to lose this round as Hndles is down, and Oxygen fights back to bring it 4-5. There is still hope.
And none other than Pushyz with another first blood, Taylor. He's doing such a good job on that side of the map. And just seems like a lot of times when he doesn't get the first blood is when this team begins to struggle sort of in that mid round. So definitely going to keep my eye on him to see if they can make this comeback possible. We'll see what Vanquish does to kind of adapt to that, right? I know they've seen kind of the angle he took there and see what they do to try to stop him.
Gonna have to, because Pushyz is definitely that guy who can make a huge difference for the team of Oxygen. Now, they are pushed back. VQ not feeling too comfortable to get up onto Platinum because they're not marked. Pushyz just lancering out, but once the smoke dissipates, they understand VQ has pushed back. We're at a standstill. Now, I will say this, VQ has done a great job at fighting this lower portion of checkout stands and getting their hands on the snipe. Now, Hndles needs to stay alive, though. Quite honestly, this 1v1 could be the reason why one team wins and one team loses.
Hndles is getting chased out into his spawn right now. Just getting absolutely pursued. Zoom almost got the down there, but he's going to have some good positioning on the backside of the map. So you're definitely going to see these teams both starting to slow play this a little bit because of the angle that Zoom has. If you're Oxygen, though, you could take advantage of this, right? You do have an opportunity, but no, Hndles is going to turn around, and VQ is going to give a taste of their own medicine. That's going to be a 4 versus 3 now. There's going to be no one, of course, that can go get the revive and Vanquish, man. These guys, they get you sometimes.
Man, Zoom. Yeah, it was that little turnaround, wasn't it, Ryan? And Zoom turns around to kind of like look for whatever reason, and it was that final shot from the Lancer. And then once
that's the best example.
Happened,
yeah, give an inch. He gave him the slightest opening, right? All it takes with these guys, you give them the slightest openings. They're so quick to react, right? They're obviously the teamwork is so good. You saw them getting hit from both sides. That's all it took.
Tough break. And I was just about to highlight Zoom versus Hndles because they're both like the support players for the team and they do it masterfully, but Zoom unfortunately unravels, takes the double back, and ends up getting taken down. Great job from VQ. They take map number 2 to take a 2-0 lead in this series. Coming up next is going to be Training Grounds Escalation, another great map for the boys of VQ. Oxygen could have an early exit. We'll find out after the break. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Day 5 of the Gears Pro League. Ryan, VQ taking a 2-0 lead after an impressive Regency control. A pretty close, relatively close checkout execution, but VQ still takes it. They lead 2-0, and right now things are going to go from, honestly, from, I don't know, scary to maybe a nightmare, depending, because Training Grounds Escalation is coming up next.
Yeah, a very, very good Escalation team, of course, good in that map as well. I told you in the pre-show, I saw this kind of map cycle, and I was kind of thinking, like, this is definitely a VQ favored map cycle. Now, I think Oxygen did a great job on Checkout, a map that I do think Vanquish is very good on, but unless you got to win 6 rounds to win the map, not 4. So, like I said, there's a long road ahead, I would say, for Oxygen. If they're going to bring this series back, they're going to have to really, really earn it on this 3rd map.
After an indeed, well, we have seen sometimes Escalation be the turning point in a series, and I will say that when it does come to Reactor control, if Oxygen can get to that point, who knows? They might be able to force a Game 5 because I've seen them have some impressive wins on Reactor specifically. It caters to their play style of aggression, in your face, and team-oriented kind of play style. But Training Grounds Escalation is going to be a big what if for these boys of Oxygen, where, let's face it, Escalation has not been their strong suit, even whenever they were competing, even a couple of phases ago, Ryan.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely something to look out for. We talk about just Escalation in general, sort of in the cycle and kind of where it sits in comparison to how obviously it used to be, right? It can sometimes be that turning point for good or bad, right? A lot of times it can be a way because it's a longer mode to kind of stop the momentum. If you're a team that's down 0-2, it's a good sort of long way to really, really take back what feels like some control, right? Because you just played for a very long time and you got to win in your belt. So it is, like I said, it's a very interesting sort of center point of the series.
I think Oxygen, though, they do have some good teamwork and a play style that might work against VQ, and that play style could be a bit of a slower one, maybe more pace-oriented. I expect first and foremost, VQ can slow things down, but I think they do excel when things are going a little bit faster, kind of in your face. Not as much as FNI or Pittsburgh Knights or other teams like that, Ryan, but VQ, more well-rounded. But I think, if Oxygen can maybe win a strong initial and then slow things down, play up defensively, their teamwork, their team fire could isolate some VQ members and work out in their favor. Zoom already has the cross. That's going to help Abolics and go up top. And this is going to be a very telling first fight on Overlook.
No, it certainly is. You're going to see both teams kind of playing a bit slow. Early utility does begin to come out. Abolics kind of forced back, but both teams are going to begin to kind of retreat once again. Rotations are starting to move through. Players starting to get tagged up from each end. It looks like Xysho will go down and be taken out. So first blood in hands of Oxygen. It looks like they're going to continue to move their numbers forward. Precision in a bit of a tough spot now. Going to get hit from both ends. Tries to get one on the way out. But Oxygen with some great teamwork. Hndles now the last alive over towards the neutral.
and he's going to be taken down as well. Good spacing from Zoom, not getting too overzealous, not hopping onto Bravo, whereas obviously Hndles needed to hop on B because he had no choice. Zoom holding his ground, takes down Xysho with a good team fire, but misses the other shot, picks up the meat shield, doubles back. Acells, he's going to get pistol whipped. Was it enough to drop him? Not just yet. Acells still alive, but Oxygen going for the domination. Acells has to get into the hill. He cannot. Shut down at the 1 yard line. Xysho, the only one alive, too far away to get a touch onto A, and Oxygen will take round 1 in a way of domination.
And that's the start you're going to need, right? You want to basically do everything you can to stop the momentum in its path from the first 2 maps. So good stuff coming through from Oxygen. It definitely started in that initial, right? You saw them get that first blood onto Xysho. From there, they did a great job of not hesitating, not being slow, advancing those numbers as fast as they can. And that's what was able to give them that kind of early lead, that early control. They did a good job of closing the round out.
Yeah, great job indeed. And by no means did they lose control. They never did, right? So they can stay like that. They're going to be just fine. But how will they fare off being on the opposite side where they may not have the advantage? We'll find out. Boltox will be placed on either end, and curious to see if Zoom plays his same passive style against Hndles, and Hndles maybe being the first one bold enough to make that first move. A lot of questions. Hndles is going to be the first one to make that move. Full red, but just barely getting into that cover. Meanwhile, now Zoom isn't going to have the cross as much, and VQ is going to feel more confident to push up, but they're being pushed right back into flank is also in, and that flank is going to be Rocky. Or Pushyz. Who was that? Yeah, it was Rocky.
Yeah, another great start coming through from Oxygen. That's going to be very quickly 3 down for Vanquish. So now Hndles once again put in that tough spot where the rest of your teammates die on the other side of the map, losing their home hill. And you're going to see Oxygen in a good position now to jump on this neutral. So Hndles has to make a big play here on one of these players in the home hill. Zoom's going to take him out. So now it's up to the players off spawn. Precision stopped in the 1 yard line. And here we come, the last 2 players over towards C. Beautiful teamwork once again from Oxygen. A second quick round.
Yeah, a second quick round indeed. And it seems like we're very quick to count out teams, I guess, at this point. We constantly hype up one and then the other one hit. They're literally performing. It's almost as if they're in the comms. Look at Abolics, man. 0 kills, but 10 assists, Ryan.
Yeah, just putting in absolute work across the map. Again, looking forward to that damage stat so we can see all the damage he probably is putting in right now. But Oxygen, they've gotten the first blood. They've gotten the early numbers both times in that fight. You're seeing Vanquish, honestly, be very hesitant on that initial, right? They're just kind of sitting back. They're almost letting Oxygen sort of get the party started, and both times Oxygen is taking the party to them. So I want to see maybe if Vanquish can be a little more aggressive on this initial.
And I do want to say, VQ, only 1 elimination as a team across the board. That is tough, and Precision sitting at 4. I mean, really, VQ at 1 elimination, not something you expect to see, but maybe the sniper turns things around. It does for Fire and Ice in their series. Maybe it could be the same for VQ. Now that you got the sniper, can you get away? Well, with Hndles giving you cover, yes, you can. So this is going to make things interesting, but Precision misses that first shot, forced to back up, and Overlook goes over towards Oxygen once again.
Another first blood. Hndles is going to get the full cap on the neutral, but he's going to probably be taken down soon. Taking a pretty low health. You're going to see Rocky coming on the backside. Hndles is going to be dropped, so that should put the neutral hill in favor of Oxygen. Xysho, in the meantime, is going to grab that headshot, so it looks like we have currently a 3 versus 3 on the map. I'm sorry. 2v1 up top. It's going to put numbers now in favor of Vanquish, and you're going to see them OE to the home hill.
OE indeed, and Oxygen needs to do this, kind of counter that sniper, which obviously should have more of an impact than it already has. Acells is going to drop. Hndles will go ahead and get the finish. I guess for the faster respawn, don't let them bleed out, right? So they don't stagger the deaths, and that's what Oxygen was going to do. So a bit of an interesting play that we don't see too often, but it makes sense in strategy. Xysho opposite of Abolics, as Abolics is kind of pinned up a little bit. It's going to be a tough road ahead to cover that distance, but Xysho's going to have to reload shortly, and Abolics might find an opportunity to push forward, but he doesn't.
Huh. See Xysho just kind of being annoying there as the snipe out. It's going to put Abolics in a tough spot because obviously you can't just necessarily sit there. And that's going to be the headshot. That's exactly why you can't sit in that cover, because they will make you pay. Now Vanquish are going to be on the offensive themselves. Goes for the up A, or the back A, I'm sorry. It's not going to connect just like that, though. That's going to be 2 down. Numbers now back in favor of Oxygen. That's going to be 3 dead. Vanquish had an opportunity, but Oxygen made him pay. And if they hold this 2 cap, Especially with this break, they're going to take the lead before we know it.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have the lead. The break doesn't quite come through, just mere seconds away is Abolics. But either way, Oxygen still has the win condition, Ryan. And like you said, oh no, they don't. A is going to be broken too. Big overextension. And player 4 is going to clutch up. Hndles, being player 4, holds his ground. And B is going to be broken too. So what looked a bit shaky for VQ for a second now turns into a great opportunity to take the round, as Oxygen are going to be forced to fight tooth and nail to get on every single hill.
And you see Pushyz go for that full cap. They got to make a move now. I'm not sure if necessarily he needed to go for that cap, because with this 2 cap, they got to hit basically every hill within seconds. He's going to shoot that snipe shot. It's not going to connect. That's going to be a Vanquish round.
Vanquish round indeed, and there's such big plays. Again, you know, on the opposite end, I didn't catch the name, but VQ winning a big 1v2 for the home hill of Oxygen, and then you have Hndles holding his ground on the home hill for Vanquish, and then ultimately someone finding an opportunity. I think it was that player who won the 1v2 was able to get onto range and ultimately dismantle that comeback potential for Oxygen. It was very short-lived, but it was there for a second. And I can't confidently say, Ryan, that the sniper is the reason why VQ wins that round.
I mean, it does change the positioning of the early fight. Of course, I think Oxygen did win the early fight there as well, but even the mid-round changes a little bit as well, because you need to always respect that weapon on the map. So it's just kind of another thing to think about on the map, especially as these sort of secondaries start to get placed more, that utility starts to be placed. Obviously, now you're going to see Oxygen with a shot grenade. That's going to be helpful as well. Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Pushyz
already the fight's different. You can see, like already they're going to, they have to go to a different spot in the map.
Fair enough. Last round of the first half, and it looks like VQ's going for, or at least doubling back, and that's because Oxygen is applying the pressure from Overlook. Good team fire. Xysho might drop here. He does. Precision's going to rotate. He's already sent 2 shots flying, and I don't believe they've connected, but Rocky's down, and the push from Oxygen has in fact been put to the wayside. And they're going to go ahead and apply that pressure for B, pushing player 8 back. That's going to be Zoom, and Abolics doesn't really have a leg to stand on either, but he's forced up with Zoom. They're going to try and get Acells out of here.
Double body shots coming through from Precision. Oh, but Abolics is going to make him pay. Precision hits another body shot, not able to connect with a headshot just yet, so that should be enough to slow down the members of Vanquish. No longer go for this trip cap, but they do have the 2 cap. So they can start to build a bit of a lead, especially with that power weapon in hand. Abolics and Oxygen are going to kind of dance around, try to make him maybe use some ammo, try to advance themselves a little bit. They know Hndles is right behind him. Look at the angle Hndles has right now, Taylor. Oxygen did not expect this whatsoever.
I don't think you could either, right? I mean, this is the thing about VQ. They've got a lot of tricks up their sleeve, and they are starting to implement all of them. Going for the domination. Player 3, Xysho, needs to get Pushyz out of this way if VQ wants to secure the round, but do they need to? They've got a decent lead. They're in control, and with another player coming up from Oxygen, with that being Zoom, it's now 2v1. Xysho backs up, but Precision comes into the mix. Pushyz was not expecting Precision to be there so quickly, and now you got Zoom and Pushyz pinned up behind cover, and the opportunity for a domination is still in effect as VQ has a ton of pressure on all the hills.
Yeah, no, they've had pretty much complete control of the map for quite some time, whether it's towards the home hills, get them off the neutral. You're going to see Oxygen take control of the neutral, but look at the score, right? I mean, Vanquish is about to hit 200 points, so if you're Oxygen, you got to make a move. You have to make it quick. The tough part is you do have the 2 home hills to work on now, so you have to kind of split yourselves on the complete opposite ends of the map, win both fights at once. A very, very tough task.
Almost an impossible task, really. Rocky, yeah, it's over with. Players 5 and 8 were kind of the last stand. Pushyz and Zoom, they were trying to get through Precision and Xysho from Vanquish. They couldn't do it. They get taken down, and whether it's a domination or 250, it's going to happen at the same time. 250 actually will be the win condition in VQ. 2 rounds in a row, 3 and 4, take it. And I did question, was the sniper enough to change it up? And you mentioned the repositioning of Oxygen, right? They're not able to play the game they were comfortable with. Well, clearly, long shots placed in round 3, and rounds 3 and 4 go to the way of VQ.
Yeah, definitely changed the map around, and that's kind of with Escalation, obviously, where it sort of differs from something like Control, is that you can sort of drastically change a fight, you know, with one single placement, right? You can place one weapon, whether it's a heavy weapon, precision weapon, whatever it may be. If you put that at a certain part in the map, you can't ignore it at that point.
Only question is, do you continue to fight for, or maybe place an in-bar, like kind of like what Pittsburgh Knights did, or Fire and Ice, excuse me, did against PK to kind of break up that fight? And maybe that is the answer, but For this round, Oxygen has their shock, which could pay dividends depending on how it is utilized. But one thing that has been consistent in the past 2 rounds, ever since Long Shot was placed, has been the fact Precision gets comfortably inside underneath Hell, and he's able to pick up the snipe consistently. And Oxygen hasn't battled against that once. Fight on Overlook, though, looks to be going well, but Xysho holding his ground, and he is literally putting the boys of Oxygen on skates, and he will win that fight. And VQ, one of the best starts yet.
That was a beautifully played 2v1 coming out from Xysho. Just like you said, put him on skates there. And that's going to give now Vanquish positioning of the 2 cap. It's going to give him some map control. You're going to see a Retro Lancer in the hands of Acells. And that was quite the play.
Quite the play indeed. And hopefully everybody can see why Xysho is just so good and been such a great addition to this VQ roster. Utilitarian role, as I said, right? He's IGL, he can play support, he can also clutch up in big moments like that and set the precedence for your initials, maybe your endings, and even win you a mid-split playoff title. Oxygen's gonna have to fight super hard. Hndles finds that literal pixel to stand in to avoid the shock, and Acells is gonna have a field day with the retro. He takes 2 down, Xysho with the cross, and Oxygen, they can't get through, and Xysho showing love to Abolics.
Going to be now Vanquish with huge control as they cross the 150-point mark. It doesn't look like they're going to push through for the 3 cap, and at that point, why even risk it, right? They have such a good setup. They have the Retro Lancer in hand. They have a lot to work with. Of course, there is going to be a new snipe down low at some point, so something to keep an eye on. It looks like on the other end, Oxygen begin to make their push for an overextension. Precision has the call out. Teamwork begins to be displayed out by Oxygen and Vanquish. Vanquish getting a lot of good early fire. But you see the wolf pack coming through from Oxygen. That's going to be the first kill. Vanquish has some time to react, but they got to do it soon. Acells gets the first down. Rocky beginning to come around the back. That should be a successful overextension coming out from Oxygen. If they can continue to knock these players down one by one, the question is, can they capitalize? But Precision somehow, some way gets the kill. That's going to definitely slow them down.
Even so, VQ only needs 1 hill. They know this, but D hasn't been fully capped. There it goes. Abolics finally sticks it. Very concerned about his surroundings, as he should be. Xysho continues to clutch up. Don't know if he's died this round yet, but I must say, Abolics is also putting on a clinic. Very well done. He's got a player just to his right, but mere seconds away is going to be Vanquish from taking this win, and Xysho needs to pull up and win the 1v, but either way, he does, and Vanquish will hold on to E, the 1 hill they needed. And Xysho from start to finish, I don't think he died the entire round around 5, Ryan, and he was instrumental in holding down Overlook the entire time.
Yeah, no, definitely a great job. And like I said, this has been a good match. Obviously, it was Oxygen taking the first couple rounds. Vanquish, they have fought back the next 3 in a row. Oxygen made that one close at the end, but they put themselves in a bit of a hole early on, right? And especially in Escalation, kind of just run out of time sometimes.
Man, always a battle against the clock, right? At certain times, you may battle the players, but the clock will get the best of you in the end, especially if you have a lackluster start, which Oxygen did. By the time they started fighting back, everything had to go right, and it's hard to put all your eggs in one basket and expect victory at the end. VQ takes the first lead on training grounds, right? They fought tooth and nail, but after that long shot was placed, they haven't faltered one bit. They've won 3 straight rounds. They've been playing incredibly well, and Precision, business as usual, gets inside to the sniper, no one able to take him down, and he picks up Abolics for good measure.
Yeah, now you're starting to see the initial swing in the favor of Vanquish, right? The saving grace for Oxygen the first couple rounds, so that they were winning the initial. They were the ones getting control, right? Second that fight changed, the entire map really has changed. Oxygen, they need to make something happen. They need to make it happen quick, because we're starting to see the Vanquish we're used to seeing, right? Getting those kills, chaining them one by one, making their move. Now you got the power weapon in the hands of Xysho. Everything they want to see.
Oh, misses that first shot. Goes in for the double take, though, onto Abolics. Abolics hits a good one, but Xysho hits a better one. And he continues to pop off. My goodness, the man is disgusting, Ryan. And even hits the body up top as well. But unfortunately, player 4 is forced to back off. That was Hndles, but he's back in it. Oh, Jesus, Xysho, you are a one-man army. I don't even know if VQ needs to play. Put Xysho on the battlefield, and it's over with.
And he's making it rain on the map, too. It's getting bad. The momentum has definitely shifted, Taylor. The first couple rounds, we're like, all right, here we go, Oxygen. They're bringing it back. And now it's just been the Vanquish show the last 4 rounds. Oxygen, they have the opportunity maybe to place something else on the map to shift that fight over, because you can see that VQ has kind of taken control of the early fight.
Yeah, the early fight, the middle fight, the end fight. I mean, they're doing literally everything right. And the way that they're doing it, yeah, they're getting the domination like the last round, but they're not shy about holding the 2-1 and forcing Oxygen to make a move. Like saying, Oxygen, give us your best. Let's see what you got. But whatever you got's not going to be enough. We're going to shut you down regardless. So, and you know what, too? Oxygen had the early shock. They didn't make anything, any good use of it. They have the early instant. Now in this round, they're not making a good use of it. And it's funny, they now try to do what Precision has been so successful doing. They send 2 players there just to try and counter 1. And that's going to be 2 out of the way. Make that 3. My goodness, VQ, come on.
They're looking to finish it right here, right now. They spotted that last player. They're getting on the hill early. The players are going to just be off spawn. There's going to be some utility placed in the backside, so you can't even run through that lane. And Taylor, that should very well do it. It's not often that these boys on VQ lose these fights. Xysho is going to fall first. I don't want to speak too soon just yet, but there's going to be 3 down. Abolics is the last alive. He is going to be taken out, and that will be a 3-0 Vanquish victory.
My goodness. And you know what? Let me say this, Ryan. VQ made a statement, and they came into this series looking to make a statement. It wasn't enough to beat Oxygen. They wanted to destroy Oxygen. And there's a number of reasons why they wanted to do so. Oxygen, #1 in Pro League. And they said, you don't belong there, we do. And also on top of that, they also know that Oxygen had been building up a ton of hype. And the distinction, or really the conversation was built, is Oxygen the best North American team? They fixed the issues from phase 1. Phase 2, they look like just a beast of a team that can't be derailed. But Vanquish says, enough is enough. We're tired of hearing all this noise. We are the MSP champions, and we're going to show you why we are still the most dominant NA team. So it's not enough just to beat Oxygen. We're not going to Game 4. We're not going to Game 5. We are going to destroy you. They did it on Regency, 300-83. Checkout, relatively close. I give it to Oxygen there. But then they destroyed them on Trading Grounds, 5-2. VQ came into this series to make a statement, and that statement was made.
Absolutely. It's a 3-0 victory. And if you're Oxygen, again, that's a good opportunity to kind of see exactly where you stand against who could very well be considered the best team in the world right now. So
right.
not a loss you want to hang your head too low on. Just take it, learn from it, and then be ready for them the next time. I think they've realized that they cannot go down early. They cannot let the momentum shift because there's just too many superstars on this Vanquish team. You have to bring your A++ game.
And I'm ready for chat to pop off. No, Oxygen are terrible. And this, no, Oxygen played this series well. I want to make that very clear. They played well. And even I go back to Regency when they lost 383. Outside of the mistake from the team kill, and I think that was Rocky onto 1, that was the only glaring mistake I saw them make. Oxygen played very well for what it's worth. VQ just played better. And it's the same thing for Checkout. They just played better. And it's the same thing for Training Grounds. They just played better. Once that sniper was placed, Oxygen did not have a contingency plan at all. But I don't expect Oxygen to win Escalation against certain teams. And this is one of those. When they lost the first 2 maps, I knew they were in trouble. Ryan you knew they were in trouble, and chat probably knew they were in trouble. But hey, Oxygen still played well, but it just comes to show you how good and on a different level VQ really is.
Absolutely. They're defending champions, right? These are matches they're supposed to win, right? For us, I know obviously we wanted to see where Oxygen stands, but if you're Vanquish, this is a match that you're supposed to win, and they won it in definitely dominant fashion as you take a look at those scoreboards. So again, Oxygen, back to the drawing board, watch the film, see what you can do better. And if you're Vanquish, obviously I know that they weren't quite #1 on the leaderboard coming into this. I know they're going to be hot on everyone's tail to make sure that they get back to that #1 spot.